In the name of Almighty God, I'm Master Sankoshi, and today I want to talk about heat transient in shell and tube in Ansys Fluent system. You can go through the Ansys Fluent, and my version is 2021, and you can go through the Workbench 2021 R2. When you click on the Workbench, you will go through the uh, subsystem, which is the toolbox in the left side. You can see the different analysis systems that I have used, Fluid Flu, and also Fluid Flu CFX, Fluid Flu Fluent, and Fluent Machine. Here I have created a shell and tube readily from the previous times, and you can see there is a mesh inside the shell and tube, and also there are many different sections. You can see the inside the pipes, which is inside the tubes, and also there are difference that you can see and make it inside the, for example, SolidWorks. Then you can go and inside the Fluent systems, you can select the analysis systems, drag it to the um, project schematic, and after that there are many others opportunities and options that you can select. For example, you can also select transit structure and transit thermal, and here I have used fluid. There is a models section. You can turn on the energy section because it can make it feasible to measure the temperature transient. And if you, for example, select the transit structure or transit thermal and drag it to the inside the schematic project, and readily the model energy is on. So the difference between the fluid flow and the thermal is that you need to make energy on inside the fluid flow to select measuring of the temperature. Also, there are in component systems, you can select a geometry just to make a geometry, or there is a different possibility of components from the mesh, mechanical APDL, mechanical designers, and so on. Also, there are custom systems that you can see the thermal. You can expect measure the stress response spectrum, vibration, and pre-stress model, and fluid static structural. And there is a design exploration that you can see for example, surface response, and so on. So here there is a different options such as geometry and mesh, and you have also the possibility to create another section for this analysis system. So by now there is a system coupling where we have a two different system, but just because we have one system shell and tube, we don't use the system coupling. If we do if we had some other sections or other multiple systems, we could use the coupling systems. Also, there are possibility for chemkin, engineering data, for configuration, some sort of material properties. You can see also the harmonic, acoustic, and so on. But I have used the fully fluent here. There is geometry mesh setup solution. In the geometry, there is a possibility you have a click right, and you see that you can make or edit the geometry in a SpaceClaim, which is the branch of this Ansys Fluent in designer model, and also edit geometry in discovery. And there is another possibility to replace geometry. You can make a browse and select a step file that you have created by some other um, software, such as, for example, SolidWorks or AutoCAD or other designers. So till now, there's a possibility to import your geometry step file, and just specific versions you can create inside the geometry. Another things is that you can make a connection from the GIS geometry of fully fluent to another analysis systems. For example, you have a two fluid fluents that there are multiple and different various configurations set up. So if I drag the transit terminal inside the project schematic branch, you see that we have engineer data which is selected before. You can also make a connection between the geometry and mesh from the left side in fluid flow analysis system to the right section of the geometry for transit terminal. You see that when I make a drag and drop and share it with another component, you see that we don't need to make a definition for transit terminal as for geometry. We just need to make it, and if we have a same geometry in different analysis system, we just can make a sharing between them. So here you have another couped field model, hydrodynamic diffraction, and magnetostatic. And here there are different sections so that if you select the transient, by default the energy is on. If you don't select this fluid, just select the fluid, you have off as a multiphysics. You see that the multiphysics in models we have it off and